Hello everyone, today we're going to go over some basics in crocheting. We're going to be learning some basic crocheting stitches. We're also going to be going over hook sizes and reading a label and how to hold your hook and how to hold your yarn while crocheting. Today we're going to be using our 5.0 millimeter crochet hook, and I'm going to get out some of my other crochet hooks as an example to show you guys the difference in sizes. This one here, I don't know how well you can see it, but this is a 2.0 millimeter hook. This is for thinner, smaller yarns for like smaller projects. This next one here is for a little bit thicker yarn. This is a 6.5, while this last one is a lot thicker, and this is a 9.0 millimeter yarn. Now we're going to be using this purple ombre yarn for our project today. There's the ombre right there. Now I'm going to be showing you guys the label for this yarn. You can see right about here, this is the hook size recommendation, which is a 5.5 millimeter. And I usually like to go just a little bit smaller, but it is okay to use the hook that is recommended. I do a little bit smaller just so my stitches are a bit more neat and tidy and tighter. Now I'm going to be going over how to hold your yarn and create a slip knot to start your project. So we're going to get a bit of yarn right here, and you're going to gather up the yarn into your fingers, and you're going to wrap it around your fingers in an X shape. And then what I like to do is I like to tuck it behind so it goes in between. And you're mainly trying to get this A/O shape that you can see here that's formed. And what you're going to do is you're going to hold on to the tail, which is the end that is not connected to your yarn. You're going to hold on to that and you're going to pull up and it will form your slip knot. This part right here is what we were referring to earlier as the tail. This other part here, the part that's connected to your yarn, this is what creates the tension in your project, and it is also what makes your slip knot smaller or bigger. Now, you may be wondering, what happens if I keep pulling on the yarn that's connected to the ball of yarn? Well, it completely undoes your slip knot, and this gives us a moment to relearn how to do the slip knot real quick. Now remember, you're going to wrap it around in an X shape around your two fingers. Put the loose end of your yarn in between. Pull on the top while holding both ends. And there you go, you created a slip knot. Now you're going to see we're going to have a really long tail here again. I personally like to keep them so that when I'm done with the project, I can sew those ends back in. You're going to see me mess with the yarn a bit. I'm just adjusting it to my liking. And now we're going to get our hook and we're going to actually start crocheting now. Now, you're going to want to hold your project in your non-dominant hand, which for me is my left, because we're going to be using our dominant hand to hold the crochet needle. Now, I'm going to demonstrate how you should hold your yarn. What I like to do is I wrap the yarn around my first finger, my pointer finger, and then I also tuck it behind my pinky finger, just so that I'm able to hold the project. You're going to wrap it around your pointer finger and then under your pinky. New part, you're going to be holding the tail with both your your middle finger, and your thumb, just so you're able to work into the project. So let's talk about the ways to hold your crochet needle. There is the pencil hold, just like this, and this is just if you were writing like a pencil. There is also the knife hold, which is just like this. And you could just put it into your project just like this and crochet normally. But for this demonstration, I am going to be doing the pencil hold because it is a little bit easier and it is the easiest way to hold your crochet needle. After putting the needle through the slip knot, we're going to tighten it, adjust it, not too tight, not too loose, but just right enough where we can still get our needle through the project easily and grab the yarn from the other side. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start creating tension. This is what we're going to be grabbing the yarn and putting it into our project. You can see this yarn right here that's in between my pointer finger and thumb. That is what we call tension. And what we need to do is When you are holding your yarn, you raise up your pointer finger, and that is your tension. You don't want it too loose, you don't want it too tight. You just want it just about right to where you're able to work in your project easily. So I'm going to demonstrate one more time how to hold your yarn and create that tension. You're going to wrap it around your pointer finger, and you're going to put it behind your pinky, and you're going to raise up your pointer finger, hold your project, and you've created your tension. You're going to use the hook of your crochet needle to grab the yarn. Once you have it, it should look something like this. And once you do, you're now going to pull it through your slip knot. And just like that, you have your second stitch in your chain. I'm going to re-demonstrate this really quick just so you guys get it. You're going to wrap the yarn around your hand just like this. So we're going to insert our hook through our slip knot, get a yarn over just like this. Once we do, we're going to pull it through the slip knot. Now we're going to do a chain of 10, which is 10 stitches. And once I hit 5 stitches, I'm going to show you the progress and then do the other 5 stitches on camera with you guys. Here are my 5 stitches so far, and now I'm going to go ahead and put the other 5 stitches in. Now here is our chain of 10, and you may be wondering, how do we get to the next row? Well, you're going to do one more stitch. Then you are going to be working into the next stitch. Now I'm going to get close to the camera so you can see this. You're going to be wanting to work in this stitch, not this stitch, because this is the one you are currently working in. You're going to be working into the stitch next to it. You're going to put your crochet needle through that loop right there. Now your hook should look something like this, where you have 2 loops. Now you're going to yarn over and pull through your project and still have 2 loops. You shouldn't have pulled through that last loop right there. You're going to yarn over one more time, and now you're going to pull through both loops. Now this is what your project should look like so far. Now I'm going to show you the top of this. This is where your bumps are. This is what you're going to be working into. Now you're going to see these little V shapes here. Those are all your stitches. You're going to be working into the middle of those top bumps, to create that second row. Now we're going to create our second stitch in this row. You're going to want to work in your first stitch, not this one. This is the one that we were just working in. You're going to want to go into the next one and put your hook through that and start putting your first stitch into that. Now you should have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the first one, should still have 2 loops. Yarn over one more time, pull through both loops. And now you should have just 1 loop on your hook. Now we're going to keep doing this until we reach the end of our row. And I'm going to speed up this part just so you guys can follow along. Now you might see, just like how mine is, your project might start curling up. That's totally normal, it's totally fine, just flatten it out. It's really only because our project is so short and only has just a few stitches. Once you add a bit more, it'll flatten itself out. Now that we're at the end of our row, we're going to yarn over, create one more stitch, and then you're going to flip your project over, where the part you just started at should be in the opposite direction. And you're going to do what you previously did. You're going to work in that first stitch again. Your first stitch is going to be right here, just like before. Put your crochet needle through it, and you're going to do exactly what you've been doing. Now you're going to do one more row of single crochets until you're at the end. Now we're on our last stitch of our row. Sometimes it's hard to see after you get to your third/second row where you're meant to end that row. So I'm going to show you, you're going to see the little V here and see those first bumps. You're going to put your hook right in between, right under those first bumps, and that's going to be the end of your row. Now you may be wondering, how do I end my project? What you're going to do is you're going to pull your yarn up, and then you're going to snip your yarn until there's a loose end, and then you pull that loose piece out of your project. Now this is a good example of single crochet stitches, and we're going to keep using this project, but we're going to undo some of the stitches we just did. So if you keep pulling on this part of your project, if you ever make a mistake or need to go back and redo something because you miscounted, you're going to pull on this string to undo it. Now we're going to start our new row. We're going to pick up our crochet hook and we're going to start our new row by making double crochets. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to yarn over. You should have 2 loops on your crochet needle. Then you're going to go into that first stitch, having 3 loops, yarn over and pull through. And now you should have 3 loops on your crochet needle. Now it might be a bit tight, it might be a bit clustered because you got 3 loops on your needle, so just make sure your tension is good. So now what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops and leaving just that last one alone. So then you should have only 2 loops on your crochet needle. Then you're going to yarn over one more time, pulling it through both those 2, and now you should only have 1 loop on your crochet needle. So we're going to practice one more time. You're going to yarn over, then go into the next stitch, yarn over again, pull through, and now you should have 3 loops. Yarn over again, pull through the first 2 loops, leaving you with 2. Yarn over one more time, pull through, and now you should have just 1 loop left. Now we're going to keep making double crochets until we get to the end of this row. Now you are going to see me make a few mistakes in here that I try and go and do a single stitch instead of a double stitch. Sometimes you just fall into a pattern of doing single stitches or double stitches that you forget which one you're doing. Now that we're done doing our one row of double crochets, you can definitely see the difference between the single crochets and the double crochets or single stitch and double stitches. They're referred to as the same thing, but you can definitely see that the double crochets are a lot longer than the single crochets. You can also see in the double crochets, they have a bit of a bigger gap in between. You can see me stick my finger in between them of each stitch. And that helps too with working with them, that it's easier to find where you need to work in. Now we are going to practice doing just one more stitch. This one is pretty simple and pretty easy. This is what you usually use to join projects together or end them. This is called a slip stitch. Now we're going to chain 1, turn our project, and just like if we were to make a single crochet into the beginning row, we're going to do that where we have the 2 loops on our crochet needle. So now what you're going to do is, now that you have those 2 loops, you're going to take that first loop and pull it through the second loop. And there's your slip stitch. So now we're going to do it just one more time. You're going to go into that first stitch, yarn over and pull through where you have 2 loops. And you're going to take that first loop and put it through your second loop. And now you have a slip stitch. Now I'm going to speed this up and do slip stitches for this entire row. Now you can see our one row of just slip stitches. Now these are a lot shorter slash smaller than single crochet slash stitches. And these are, as I said before, these stitches are mainly used for just attaching pieces or going into the next section for a project. And that's going to be it for our first crocheting lesson. Thank you guys for watching.